6.
This is interesting, Tim, because Peter Hanscom no doubt was selected in the Australian team with a specific purpose for this one-day series, to play the spinners through the middle overs of the Indian team. And as Ian's just described, they've now gone back to Shami, the quick bowler. Unfortunately for India, they certainly had Australia by the throat, and Maxwell's got some gifts to quickly move to 22. So again, the arm wrestle sort of continuing, and Australia have just got a little bit of momentum at the moment.
Has he got a short one for Maxwell? He's in and bowls. Notice is well up. Maxwell drives hard into the pitch without timing, back to the bowler on the bounce.
Speaking of short ones, it's interesting that Cricket Australia in 11 playing against Sri Lanka, the warm-up game for Sri Lanka for the Test match, and a few of the Australian players. Interesting to note that 2 young guys were bounced out, Pekovsky and Sanger. I saw Sanger in a T20 game at the Olympic Stadium there, and he looked horrible against the short pitch delivery.
Shami bowls to Maxwell, who hooks off the top edge for 4. Down a very fine leg. He was waiting for the short one. He got into position immediately, but he didn't hit it out of the middle of the blade. He hit it off an edge, and he gets 4 lucky runs.
Well bowled, Ian, by Shami. A little bit of extra push there.
Well, that's where he top edged one the other day in Adelaide, early in his innings.
They've got 2 men back there, Chappelli, for it. They've got a man at deep backward square and a deep fine leg, but no one was stopping that because it flew off the top edge. Very, very fine.
5 boundaries, Maxwell. 26 from 18 balls. Shami with him, short again. This time he doesn't go into the shot. It's called wide by the bowler's end umpire.
I think he got a hint from square leg. Kohli's looking a bit bemused.
It was a pretty useful bouncer. It had Maxwell initially interested in having a go, and then I think maybe because he realised it was onto him too quickly.
So you're going to go again, Tim? Is he going to go again, Ian? I reckon he's going to bump him again. 2 men back.
5 for 161. It's on here. Shami into Maxwell, and it's short again. He hits it in the air, down a fine leg. He will be caught. He is brilliantly caught.
Oh, that's bad.
So Bhuvaneshwar coming in from the boundary at full tilt, falling forward and picking it up just above the grass. It's a brilliant catch. Safe hands for Protector Aluminium, and Maxwell is out for 26. A big blow struck. Fine bowling by Shami at 6 for 161.
Tim, if Ian and I knew he was going to bounce him again, why on earth didn't Glenn Maxwell know? Or did he know and he just couldn't put it away? Interesting asking that question to Ian Chappell, who loved a hook shot as well. But that was so obvious to me, Tim, that he was going to bounce him again, and he did.
You're a keeper, but you think like a quickie, Chuck. Brilliant catch by Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. Gee, he's a good cricketer, that young bloke. He's a brainy bowler, smart bowler. He can bat a bit, and he gives you everything he's got in the field. He had to cover a lot of territory charging in, and then he dived forward to take the catch, which is never an easy thing to do in the outfield, because you know if you don't quite get there, you might be looking for a new set of teeth. But terrific catch, and good reward for some excellent quick bowling from Shami.
And the right move made at the right time by the skipper to bring the quick on with Maxwell getting off the chain. He nipped that in the bud in no time at all. Conceded the 1 boundary off the edge, but got him also off the edge in exactly the intended way.
Tim, I know it's easy from the cheap seats and sitting up here in the media, but we've got to call it as we see it. That's a really disappointing out for mine for Glenn Maxwell, because he got an easy 20 runs. His country needed him. He's at the MCG playing in front of his home crowd. He had a chance to make a statement. It was so obvious that they were going to bump him again, and he couldn't resist. It's a win for India, and it's a horrible out for Glenn Maxwell. And if there's a criticism of Glenn Maxwell, it's his, at times, lack of awareness and his inability to put away some shots when he's got the opposition on toast. I'm disappointed that he's been dismissed, and it's left Australia very vulnerable at 6 for 161.
Yeah, pretty well described, Chuck. Is it also an inability to put away his ego, in a sense, as a cricketer, that he he couldn't resist wanting to show that he could stand up and hook, and he didn't get it.
Yeah, well, it's a great question, and again, a man sitting to my left, I don't have to sing his praises, Australian captain we all admired, and I would ask you that question, Ian, because, and I know you would have liked to have taken the bowler on as well, but surely now, as an elder statesman, you look at that, are you in my camp and think, Maxie, you needed to just shelve it there?
I think he's very wary of short pitch bowling, and I think that's. I mean, I've always said there are two types of hook shots. There are the one, where you're hooking with conviction, and I've described it, maybe it's not a very good description, but hooking out of fright. And it's that's when you're sort of you're ducking your head a little bit, you're taking your eye off the ball, you sort of almost get away from the hook shots, and I think that's the way that Glenn Maxwell hooks. He does take his eye off it, so I'm not convinced that he's very good at playing the short pitch ball, and I am convinced that that's one of the reasons why he doesn't get picked in Test cricket, particularly Test matches in Australia. I think that's why he wasn't picked to go to the UAE, because the selectors felt that if he made runs there, they'd then have to pick him back in Australia, and they knew that the Indians had come after him with short pitch stuff if he played in Australia.
Well, agree, they did exactly that right then and there. The moment was there, the spinners went out of the attack, they went back to Shami, and he went bang, bang, bang into the wicket. One was called wide. We were talking about it as it unfolded and said, and I said he's going to go again here. And I was just surprised that the bait was thrown out, Tim, and the big fish jumped straight on the end of it, and gee whiz, it was a great catch by Kumar. Diving forward is the toughest catch to take, and he's taken it nicely.
Yeah, the line hadn't been in the water very long.
No.
6 for 161, Jai Richardson arrives, he's at the non-striker's end. Hanscom now with a huge job, he's on 24, and he pushes the first ball after that break, and there was a drinks break taken. We'll make it up to all of our wonderful sponsors. The ball pushed on the onside for a single. 6 for 162. Hanscom 25. Richardson yet to score. That is the end of the over. The 35th of the innings. 6 for 162 on the Flex of Vital scoreboard.
Any sport is not a cakewalk for anyone.
Dimadas has done it. Lionel Messi! Lionel Messi does it again. He's superhuman. Usain Bolt storming through. He takes it.
For few, it takes years, sometimes decades, to just touch that endeavor. But remember, all that blood and sweat never goes down in vain.
6 for 162 Australia. The 36th over will be bowled by Ravi Jadeja from the southern end of the MCG. Hanscom on strike. He's 25. Jai Richardson, his new partner, yet to face a ball. Maxwell out in the previous over for 26. Jadeja bowls and Hanscom pushes through the vacant mid-on for a single. 6 for 163. Maxwell caught by Bhuvaneshwar Kumar off Mohammad Shami for 26. The sixth wicket falling at 161 in the 35th over. Maxwell 26 from 19 balls with 5 fours, but fell quickly once pace was reintroduced. Now Jadeja round the wicket to Richardson. He flights this. Richardson pushes without timing, scores a run out to cover. 6 for 164. Earlier in the day, Australia losing the toss. Kohli inserting the home team. Carey out for 5. Finch 14. Marsh 39. Khawaja 34. Stoinis 10. Followed a moment ago by Maxwell for 26. 6 for 164 in the 36th. Australia need to find 100 runs and more. Jadeja bowls forward, edged by Hanscom down to third man. It was just wide of slip. Rohit Sharma, who's taken one pearler, couldn't get a hand to that, and it goes to the boundary for 4. Hanscom 30, 6 for 168.
This is the part of the order that disappeared without a trace at Adelaide Oval. They went into the Bermuda Triangle the last 4. It's a slightly different last 4 this time with Stanlake and Zampa in the team, but they're not selected for their batting. I'm surprised actually he's taken Chahal out of the attack with the lower order guys in.
Jadeja hasn't been at his best today. That's none for 50 off 8.3.
He bowls to Hanscom, who's off the front foot, slashing him square of the wicket on the offside for 1, 6 for 1, 6-9.
Stating the obvious here, but Peter Hanscom is crucial. If Australia are to win this match and the series, Hanscom's got to... He has to be there at the end because Australia just won't post a big enough total otherwise.
Richardson faces Jadeja forward, pushing through the covers for 1. 6 for 170.
Clearly Richardson's held in fairly high regard with the bat, because 8 for me is probably one spot too high, but Peter Siddle can handle himself, but he hasn't been in great form with the bat. Clearly Jai Richardson, they feel number 8, so he's still got to do some batting, chaps, there. Number 8 alongside Hanscom.
Last ball of the 36th. Hanscom has strike to Jadeja, flat delivery, and it's punched off the back foot to long on for a single. So runs from every ball there, 9 from the over upon Jadeja's reintroduction. And at the end of 36, it is 6 for 171 on the Flex of Vital scoreboard.
Any sport is not a cakewalk for anyone.
Imadas has done it. Lionel Messi! Lionel Messi does it again. He's superhuman. Usain Bolt storming through. He takes it.
For few, it takes years, sometimes decades, to just touch that endeavor. But remember, all that blood and sweat never goes down in vain.
6 for 171, Australia in trouble. Mohamed Shami back in the attack, removed Maxwell promptly, and will now start his 7th over. So 4 overs left from Shami. Bhuvaneshwar has another 5 to bowl. And the leg spinner Chahal has 4 more. India in a very strong position here to dictate terms and to try and wrap up this Australian innings for a very modest total. Hanscom has strike. Shami with him, and it's short. Hanscom pulls well. Got on top of it, hit it downwards, not with great power. Scores 1 out to deep square leg. 6 for 173 as throw came in and hit the stumps at the non-striker's end. Hanscom safely ensconced.
Chuck, do you know who was responsible, or was it Peter Hanscom's idea to change his technique so drastically? I mean, when I was doing a bit of work with the Stars a few years ago, and he had a normal stance, and I thought he was a very good young player. In fact, I kept trying to get him into the Stars side without much success, but you know, it's a drastic change to his technique, and not a very good one, I don't think.
Shami to Richardson. Short, and he leans back, swaying away, handles it well, fends it away to third man for 1, 6 for 173.
I probably can't categorically answer, but I know that Greg Shippard has done a lot of work with him. I would be surprised if Shippy has made that alteration. The other option I would suggest, when he went to play county cricket in England, and a lot of the English batsmen have done that over the years, as you know. So my gut feel, I don't know the answer.
For a single, 6 for 180. With 1 ball left in the 38th.
But I remember, as a young bloke, my coach at the time, Lynn Fuller, said, you know, he was talking about the back and across movement, and he told me that Sir Donald Bradman did it. And I thought to myself, as a 10, 11-year-old kid, whatever I was, if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me.
Handy to have it confirmed by Sobers a bit later on.
Yeah, and Sobey made the same movement. 2 pretty useful players.
Shankar to Hanscom, who dabs to third man for a single, taking the score off 180 to 181. Hanscom has 39 and will keep the strike. Richardson 6. And that's after 38 overs, and it's all on the Flex of Vital scoreboard.
We had the challenge in our hands. We did the unthinkable. We created history.
Victory intense on Australian soil.
And now we are the trendsetters for the nations.
Win the test match.
Tests for the battle of patience and grit. And now it's time to set the Trotter format on fire.
6 for 181, Australia trying to work their way towards respectability, but it's not going to be easily done. Bowlers are going to have to do a mighty job, one suspects, for Australia to win this match. Now Bhuvaneshwar Kumar is back into the attack. Shami's done his job at the members' end. He bowls to Hanscom, who comes down hard on a full-length ball and hits it back along the pitch to the bowler. John Embry comes in to join us. Hello, Embers.
Hello, Tim.
Nice new glasses, Chuck. Or are they your old ones?
No, they're the old ones. I found these ones in the well of the passenger's seat in the car before going to Adelaide the other day, so I came back and bought another pair.
That's where they'd got to. Kumar bowls, Hanscom defends to mid-off, no run.
And then bought another pair in Adelaide and promptly lost those.
You had a bad couple of days in Adelaide. You weren't quite on your game. Now, these ones look very professorial, I must say. I'm impressed.
No, I had to dig another pair out.
Professor Embury, what is a respectable score, or what do you think Australia need to post to be competitive on what we've seen from this wicket so far?
Ideally, I think Australia would settle for 250, 260.
Kumar to Hanscom on driving. It's a lovely shot, but Dhawan's too quick for him. Gets across at mid-on and fields. There's no run.
But to get to 260, they obviously need another 80 runs off just under 12 overs, so that's going to
take some going on
challenge them with 6 wickets down. But if Hanscom can stay there, and we saw how well he batted in Sydney, that he's certainly up for it. And Jai Richardson looks very, very busy, and I think he could do a very good supporting role here with Peter Hanscom.
Kumar to Hanscom, forward opening the face, running it behind point for a single. Now 6 for 182.
Sorry, Tim, I feel like a little bit slighted, criticising England or English cricket for changing Peter Hanscom. As though to say, well, he played for Yorkshire, he wasn't at Worcester,
sorry.
Yorkshire.
Thanks for correcting me.
But I'm not too sure. I think, having watched him one-day cricket on television in England and watched him play, he played with that sort of stance and whatever very early on when he went to Yorkshire. They might have tinkered with it.
6 for 182. Kumar to Richardson, who plays and misses outside the off stump.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the player that is responsible for his
100%.
his game.
And we're not talking about a junior player either, Embers. It's a senior figure, and my memory was that there was some tweaking made whilst he was in, and I incorrectly said Worcester, so Yorkshire. But if anyone knows, give us a ring, maybe at the tea break, and let us know if you can offer some rebuttal.
Last ball of the over. Richardson slicing a drive behind point, but not through. No run, end of the over, the 39th of the Australian innings. And on the Flex of Fight All scoreboard with Bruce Eva coming in, it's 6 for 182.
The field is set. The experts are ready. Welcome to Sports Flashes Radio, as we are live. It's the clash of the arch rivals. You don't want to miss.
Vijay Shankar to continue. 5 overs none for 15. He's operating from the Great Southern Stand end. Australia 6 for 182 with 66 legal deliveries remaining in their innings. Hanscom on strike, and to the first ball he takes it off his pads but can't beat the man at a straightish mid-wicket in Rohit Sharma, and there is no run. He has 39, Jai Richardson has 6, and Australia 6 for 182. This partnership has provided 21 runs. Good afternoon, Darren Berry and John Embry.
Yes, Beeve, good to have you back. We're just looking at the big scoreboard with a score prediction that was up there, and John Embry and I were discussing what was suitable, and Embers was sort of hoping for 260. I think 240's alive, but I agree, to be a winning total, it's probably got to be 260.
And to get that, you'd think this man Hanscom would have to be there at the end, and he is across his crease to the next delivery, trying to whip it away on the onside, struck on the pad. The bowler appealed with no support from his fieldsman, and umpire Paul Blocker-Wilson was unmoved.
Yeah, it didn't look a bad shout initially, because Peter Hanscom did get across the stumps, but the ball striking him outside the line of off stump. This is where Peter Hanscom, I think, manoeuvres the ball around very, very well. gets one side of the ball or the other.
Shankar in. Oh, Hanscom, what a shot. Lifts it out over mid-wicket. It pitches like a 9-iron and then runs on into the rope in front of the party deck in the Great Southern Stand. And that is a shot of the day thanks to Westpac Home Insurance. Drop kicked out over wide mid-on. 6 for 186. And the key figure from a batting perspective from here on in for Australia, Hanscom moves to 43.
I know there's still 10 and a half overs to go, John, but I think Hanscom in his head is thinking maybe this is a bowler that I can get to rather than have to go at Kumar and Shami. He wants to take this boy now. Now, with that one shot, long on's gone back on the fence.
Shankar hustles in again, and Hanscom swings into a pull shot to a ball that was just short of a length. There's a man in the deep that will keep it to 2 out on the eastern side, which is the longest boundary. That is Jadav out there in the deep, and they run a brace, 6 for 188. Hanscom 45 from 48.
But it's interesting, isn't it? What time do you go and you put your foot down on the pedal? It could be that if he's decided to go now, it could be too early if he was to get out and put a little bit too much pressure on the lower order batsman. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think you've got to go hard and go for the bigger total.
We'll have to bowl that one again. Shankar wide of off stump and called a wide by Blocker Wilson. So 7 runs from the over already. This is the 40th of the Australian innings. Still 2 deliveries remaining at 6 for 189.
Beav, what he has done here, though, and I think he's showing the inexperience of the bowler, he pitched up and Hanscom lifted him over the leg side. The next ball, Shankar responded with one into the wicket that he's pulled away, and now Shankar's bowled a wide. So he's got into the bowler's head a little bit. We'll see what the response is.
Tries again, the debutant. Oh, Hanscom almost chops on. He tried to play one of those signature shots of his of a glide down to third man under edge, and it bounced away in the end harmlessly back towards MS Stoney, who did the fielding.
Well, yeah, I think that is one of his signature shots, isn't it? Waiting for the ball, playing it late, just opening the face of the bat to run it down to third man, but that ball might have been just a little bit fuller, kept a little bit lower, the bottom edge of the bat.
Vijay Shankar past Blocker Wilson, and Hanscom punches firmly down the ground on the onside and was on the move with the shot. They take just a single, so he will retain the strike. Good over for the Australians, 8 from it. Hanscom moves to 46. It's 6 for 190 after 40 on the Squad Athletica scoreboard.
The field is set. The experts are ready. Welcome to Sports Flashes Radio, as we are live. It's the clash of the arch rivals. A game you don't want to miss.
6 for 190 with 10 overs remaining. Australia sent into bat by Virat Kohli. Bhuvneshwar Kumar to bowl his 7th over very shortly from this, the members' end. The excellent figures of 6 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 16, picking up both openers, Alex Carey and Aaron Finch, for 5 and 14 respectively. He actually reduced Australia to 2 for 27 after 9 overs. A partnership then of 73 between Khawaja and Sean Marsh before they fell. Both fell in the first over from Yuzvendra Chahal with his leg spin. Marsh making 39, Khawaja 34. Stoinis was out for 10, providing Chahal with his 3rd wicket. And Glenn Maxwell, top edge hook, brilliantly caught by Bhuvneshwar at fine leg off Mohammad Shami for a quick fire 26 from 19. That's the tale of the Australian innings to date. Peter Hanscom showing the way with 46. Jai Richardson has 6. And Boovy's on his way past umpire Michael Goff, and Hanscom forward defending with an open blade, pushing out to backward point.
A run of ball embers from here gives them 250. We were just discussing off air that's in the game at 250 on this wicket. Sure, Australia would like 275, 280, but at a run of ball, which you'd suggest not a lot of risk to be taken there, gets them to 250.
No, absolutely, and as you say, they're in the game. They'll feel that they're in the game. They may not have enough runs,
Bhuvaneshwar unwinds again, and Hanscom has to defend again, pushing out to backward point, another dot ball.
Or I should say it may not prove to be enough runs, but 250 on the board from the position that Australia were in would be a good score, and a competitive score.
Slightly different Australian bowling lineup today as well, Beaver, with Stanlake, obviously the big tall man. Hopefully he can cause some troubles to the Indian batsman. Richardson is an exciting fast bowling prospect, and then the leg spin of Zampa. He'll get an opportunity tonight under the lights to show his wares.
Bhuvi in again, and Hanscom defends away towards mid-on, and they take a quick single just to the right of Raidu, who's out there as a sub-fielder. And I just wonder with this pitch, with a bit of moisture underneath the deck, with the darkness of the footmarks, whether Peter Siddle just nibbling it around tonight. I mean, he bowls.
Might be right.
It would be, he'd love to perform on his home deck in front of this, what is a huge crowd now. It's pushing 50,000 here at the MCG. As Richardson back on strike on 6, waits for Bhuvaneshwar, and he's back into his stumps and defending away on the offside. He wanted to take a quick single, and Hanscom as quickly sent him back.
Well, that was a little bit ambitious, that call from Richardson. It wasn't his call. He played the ball behind square on the offside, but straight to the gully fielder. Hanscom quite rightly sent him back. A loud shout of no.
2 balls remaining in the 41st over. Another tight one from Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, just a single from it. He bowls a bouncer, and Richardson takes on the pull shot and played it well. He got over the top of it, and in fact played it so early he got it out in front of square. Jadeja in the deep keeps it to a single, and it's 6 for 192.
That's a good call, Beav. He did play that well, because 2 men set back for the hook shot. It quite easily could have lost control of his stroke, but the awareness from the young man was good. He got his hands high above the ball, which is crucial when you are trying to hook, and he kept the ball down. So it was a really well-controlled, executed shot by Richardson.
He moves to 7, and he watches as Bhuvaneshwar bowls to Hanscom, who chops away at one outside off stump and runs it down to third man for another single. 6 for 193. That was the last ball of another tight over. 6 for 193, and that is on the Squad Athletica scoreboard.
The field is set. The experts are ready. Welcome to Sports Flashes Radio, as we are live. It's the clash of the arch rivals. The game you don't want to miss.
Changing the bowling, Yuzvendra Chahal with his leg spin, who ripped the heart out of the Australian middle order, coming back into the attack from the great southern stand end. A quick update from across the railway lines at the Australian Open. Maria Sharapova and Caroline Wozniacki. Sharapova took the first set 6-4, but Wozniacki up a break, leading 2-love in the second set, and she's serving at love 15. Don't forget, tonight we'll keep you updated on the big clash between Alex de Minaur, the Demon, and world number 2 Rafael Nadal. 6 for 193 with 9 overs remaining. Macquarie Sports Radio's Summer of Cricket. John Embry, Chuck Berry and Bruce Eva with you. Chahal in, and the first delivery of his new spell. Hanscom mistimes a forcing shot off the back foot, off the toe of the bat. It rolls back to the bowler.
Big over this, I feel, Embers, with Chahal back in. He's still got 4 to bowl towards the Australian tail enders, and how Hanscom navigates this over will be very interesting.
3 for 31 from 6.1 as Hanscom's forward, just clipping it neatly and quietly off his pads out to mid-wicket for a single from the second delivery.
Well, there are 5 fielders out for Hanscom, and in fact they're staying out for Jai Richardson as well. So there are plenty of singles around the field. Slip
in, which is good. I like that, Embers. A relatively new batsman against the leg spinner. Got to have the slip.
Yep. Richardson with an open stance and stays leg side of the ball, forces backward a point, but straight to Bhuvaneshwar, and there is no run.
Yeah, it's not easy for a lower order batsman to come in and play against leg spin, because they get more spin than an orthodox finger spinner.
That's a straighter delivery from Chahal, and Richardson did well. He freed the arms and tugged it around the corner down to deep backward square. They take another single.
To be honest, Embers, I would like to see Coley bring another one or two into the circle for Richardson to ask the young man, are you prepared to go? And if he gets a wicket, it puts even more pressure on Hanscom. But he's left those men in the deep. Hanscom back on strike.
Hanscom a single away from his second half century of the series, and he brings it up easily on the back foot. He punches it down to long on, and a much needed 50 for the Australians. Peter Hanscom 50 not out from 57 deliveries faced with just the 2 boundaries as Australia reached 6 for 196.
A very, very well compiled innings from Hanscom.
Chahal in wider on the crease, and Richardson cleverly works it off the hip down behind square, and they take another single to Mohammad Shami.
Yes, when the one-day team is selected, Embers, that's the end of the over. Sorry, Beef.
End of the over. 42 completed, 6 for 197 on the Squad Athletica scoreboard.
The field is set. The experts are ready. Welcome to Sports Flashes Radio, as we are live. It's the clash of the arch rivals. The game.
So Peter Hanscom registers his third ODI half century. He's second in this series, and Australia is 6 for 197. Mohammad Shami in from the members' end, and the start of the 43rd over, he goes right through Jai Richardson with a ball that didn't really bounce as Richardson tried to run it down to third man.
Certainly died a bit, that one from Shami. As you say, Richardson trying to run it to third man. I was just going to say before the break, when the one-day side was selected, Embers, there were a few eyebrows raised at Hanscom coming back in after being omitted for his test form, but I think with a purpose to bat through the middle order against the spin, and he's been very good.
So Shami replacing Bhuvneshwar Kumar after a short spell of just 2 overs for 4, and Richardson again gets all cluttered up as he tries to defend but also get a run by working it out into the covers, and the mistimed shot just rolls away gently on the offside.
Yeah, having been left out of the test side and then playing the Big Bash, getting 70 odd for the Melbourne Stars, and the way that he got it, very, very positive in that match. I think it was against one of the Sydney sides.
It was at the SCG, yes.
And batted extremely well, timed the ball beautifully, which was also very timely for him with the one-day series coming up.
So Richardson, very bright yellow pads, open stance, and he will pick up a quick single on this occasion. Opened the blade and just worked it to the right of Jadeja at backward point, who had a slight fumble. We don't say that very often. And it's 6 for 198. What about the colour of Richardson's pads? They're back almost like the World Series cricket yellow pads. There's certainly a lot more yellow than the rest of his teammates.
They are very much. Now, I haven't got my binoculars. Are they a certain brand, or have they got an extra coat of paint on them, Beav, or are they just, they are a lot brighter, as you say.
They're 2 tones brighter than Hanscom's. None of the other Australian batsmen have batted in a pair as bright as Jai Richardson's. Shami close to the stumps, and Hanscom across his stumps and hoiks it down the ground. An ungainly looking shot. He picks up a single to Shikadawan at long on.
He might have borrowed those off Bruce Stumpy Laird, I reckon. Stumpy handed them across in Perth and said, look, you can have a shot at my bright yellows if you like.
Actually, they do look that old, don't they?
He's doing a good job at the moment. He's 10 not out and providing a nice foil for Peter Hanscom. Still some work to be done for Australia to be competitive in this game, but Hanscom's travelling nicely on 51, and Richardson to this point has been sensible and building a nice partnership.
Yeah, the partnership worth 38 for the 7th wicket. Shami uncurls against short ball.
Shot.
Richardson plays a magnificent pull shot as he picked the gap between they almost collided in the deep. And in fact, Raidu, the sub fielder, has gone down and stayed down. I wonder if he might have been spiked by his teammate out there in the deep in, I think it's Dinesh Karthik. Raidu's still down, and they'll also have to have a look at the video as to whether the ball touched the rope or one of the fieldsmen was touching the rope.
It's on his knee, I reckon, Beaver. I might be wrong, but I think his knee. Oh, his ankle.
Oh, his ankle, his left ankle.
Went back, didn't it?
Well, he didn't get himself in a very good position there when he went down to field that ball.
And Spinley's replay, I think it's going to be a boundary as well. I mean, it could have been a catastrophic collision between the two fielders. Kartik had to leap over his teammate in the end and actually leap out of the field of play.
So, Ambody Raidu, he dropped from the team, Embers. He's come on as a sub-fielder just to make matters worse. He's now, he's up and about, or no, he's sitting down now on the outside the boundary with their physio, Australian Pat Farhart. And he's just having a look, getting the replay there.
And the left ankle, or the left foot plants, and he almost forced his foot forward with his right knee as he was tumbling to the ground. A boundary given as well. Shammy tries again, and Richardson carves it out through the covers. There's more runs here, at least two. Will they take a third on the throw? They thought about it, and they elect to stay at home. So Richardson, looking confident, moves to 416, and Australia 6 for 205. That was from the last ball of the 43rd over on the Squad Athletica scoreboard. And here's a simple tip to help you get a good night's sleep. Go to spinelease.com.au and order your new Spinelease pillow today. Spinelease is all about better sleep through clever technology. Thousands of people have made the change to a Spinelease, including lots of people here at Macquarie Sports Radio. The unique design of the Spinelease pillow supports your head and neck and cushions the joints, nerves and muscles. So if you have neck issues or get regular headaches, it's time to try a Spinelease. And if you have a partner who snores, you should try a Spinelease pillow. Cricketing legend Ian Chappell swears by it. Order your Spinelease pillow today. You'll get free delivery. Spinelease.com.au. It will change the way you sleep. 6 for 205, Australia, 7 overs remaining. A nice partnership of 44 between Peter Hanscom and Jai Richardson. And it is Hanscom on 51 on strike. First ball of the new over from the leggy Chahal, and it's a single down to long on. Hanscom again light on his feet, clips it all the way along the turf. 6 for 206.
Beaver, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I've just had a look on the Bureau of Meteorology radar site, and there is a little band of rain just descending upon Melbourne. Let's hope it misses us to the south, but certainly heading for the MCG at this point.
Chahal in again. Richardson opens the blade, defends out to Shikadarwan at point. We only want good news from you today, Chuck.
Okay. Well, Australia are heading towards a reasonable total. There we go, Pete. But there is a little bit of rain on the radar. Let's hope it goes south and heads down to the Mornington Peninsula as opposed to hovering over the city.
It's been an unsettled day. It's been an unsettled couple of days with heavy cloud overhead as Richardson has shipped the next delivery straight to the man at short mid-wicket, and the catch is taken.
Well, a good innings by Richardson has come to an end, and just trying to work that ball on the onside against the spin, and got caught at short mid-wicket, but not great for Australia. 7 down for 206, and that was a good innings. It was a good partnership between the two of them, and I think Jai Richardson is proving that he's a good athlete, he's a good bowler, and he's showing what he can do with the bat. He's a good athlete in the field, and I think he's going to be a future asset.
I agree.
For Australian cricket.
I know we've both got him in our World Cup squad. That dismissal, Embers, another leading edge with the batsman turning the blade. We saw it with Khawaja, which tells us the wicket is a little slow for the spinners. Adam Zampa needs to be looking at this as to how he puts his craft together this evening, but it's the second batsman today caught off a leading edge.
Yeah, I think that's a key point you say there about Zampa as well, and just watch and see the pace that Chahal bowls. He hasn't bowled very quick. He's taken pace off the ball. The ball is bitten into the ground. It's holding just a little bit. Batsmen have found it very, very difficult to time, and I'm sure that Adam Zampa will be taking note of that, because Chahal now has got 4 for 36 off 7.5 overs.
What an inspired selection that's been. Chahal didn't play in the first two one-day internationals, and we've come to the MCG this afternoon with the series on the line and a chance for India to complete this amazing tour of Australia. They win the Test series, and now they're on target here.
Keita Yadav, the man taking the catch at short mid-wicket. Safe hands thanks to protector aluminium. Just had to dive forward and roll ever so slightly to protect the ball as his elbows hit the ground. 7 for 206, so a partnership of 45 between Richardson and Hanscom for the 7th wicket comes to an end. 16 from 23 deliveries, Jai Richardson. Hanscom on 52, and Adam Zampa.
Play straight at him. He likes to work the ball to leg as well too. Be careful.
Leggy to leggy, and Chahal has Zampa forward, defending softly back down the pitch. The bowler does his own fielding.
Yeah, and Jai Richardson's dismissal was a typical lower order batsman's dismissal, trying to work the ball against the spin, trying to hit it too square.
Chahal in again, and Zampa once more defends on the front foot, back down the line. The bowler again does the fielding.
And Chahal won't be disappointed now to be bowling at Zampa, coming in at number 9 for Australia.
Wider on the crease, and Zampa forward. He got something on it. It bobbles away on the leg side as Dhoni comes around from behind the stumps to do the fielding. It is a single. There was a little bit of bat, so he retains the strike after 44 overs on the Squad Athletica scoreboard. Australia reach 7 for 207.
Dude, this game is all about chances. How that ball takes a drastic turn of events.
I don't have to tell the name of it now, do I?
Chances are this ball gets dribbled for another 10 seconds in front of me. And also the 79,999 fans in this rocking stadium.
What the... I know, I can sense that you're a little confused, but bear with me on this for 5, 4, 3...
Yes, a very entertaining breakfast show. Mark Levy and Piggy Riddell back Monday on Macquarie Sports Radio, up and down the eastern seaboard. We appreciate your company. 1278 here in Melbourne, 954 in Sydney, 882 in Brisbane. Bhuvneshwar Kumar back into the attack. A very short spell there, just the one over from Mohammad Shami, and the first ball of a new set of 6. Zampa plays a lovely leg glance to get Hanscom back on strike. Zampa moves to 2, and it's 7 for 208.
Well, the game still is on knife edge, in my opinion, at the moment, Bede, because Hanscom is still there, so Australia a chance to post that 250 score. If India can break Hanscom here in the next couple of overs, well, then a whole different complexion comes over this match.
So Bhuvneshwar in, and Hanscom plays a forearm jolt. He just stands and delivers a very straight pull shot down to wide long on, and they come back for an easy 2. 7 for 210. Hanscom 54 from 60.
Yeah, very important that when Zampa's on strike, and the first ball of this over was a prime example, picking up a single off that first ball to get Hanscom back on strike, knowing full well that Hanscom will be looking for 2s and 4s to maintain that strike, but if he does get a single, that Zampa is going to be looking to get him back on strike.
Bhuvneshwar in again, and the signature late cut from Hanscom, just sweats on it and runs it down to third man. 7 for 211.
Another interesting point for mine, Zampa's been elevated above Siddle. So Siddle, who I was talking about with Richardson, has gone down. Now, whether it's a tactical move, John, that the Australians feel we're under par, Zampa can whack it a little bit. So maybe they've sort of said, OK, Adam, go and play with a little bit of freedom. We know Siddle can survive, but I think that might have been the tactic in the Australian dressing room, to be honest.
Bhuvneshwar in, and Zampa plays an authentic shot, forcing off the back foot out into the deep. Shankar moves quickly to his left to keep it to 1. 7 for 212. So Siddle and Stanlake still to come for the Australians. Billy Stanlake is tall as a light tower. It would have come in handy at the Gabba last night, replacing Jason Berendorf in this match with some back soreness.
But I agree with you, Chuck, there. I think Zampa coming in, he can be an orthodox player, but he can also be very unorthodox and will hit balls in areas where the fielders are not.
Boovy to Hanscom on 55. He lifts him out over mid-wicket. It won't go the journey. It mightn't even reach the rope. It's pulling up, and Shikadawan just keeps it in the field of play, but can't prevent them running a very comfortable 3. 7 for 215. Hanscom to 58.
Well, this will be comfortably Kumar's most expensive over of... He's only gone for 8, but in his terms, it is an expensive over, and he's still got one ball to come. He's only gone for 27. He's got one ball of his 8th over to go.
Cruises in again. And this time it's Zampa picking up a single. That made a nice sound off the bat as he hoiks it out to Shikadarwan at deep mid-wicket. And once more, retains the strike. 45 overs completed. 7 for 216 Australia on the Squad Athletica scoreboard.
20 teams, 100 million fans. One shot at greatness. Premier League 2018. From match previews with expert analysis to post-match reviews and the irresistible fan debates. Step in with us to the Manager's Corner as they discuss what just happened at the back of the net.
Yuzvendra Chahal in picking up 4 wickets in this ODI, deciding ODI at the MCG, now has the best bowling figures for an Indian spinner in an ODI at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. He starts a new over, his 9th, and Zampa is forward, just pushing away to cover, and there's no run. 4 for 37. He overtakes Dilip Doshi, had the previous best figures with 3 for 32, as Zampa mistimes a cover drive from the next delivery straight to Kohli in the covers.
Well, two dots to start the over, only 28 deliveries left. Embers in the Australian innings, so they're rushing them at the moment, and Zampa will improvise here. Something's happening for sure, Beef.
Charlie, he tosses that one up, and Zampa does. He goes inside out over cover. Shikadarwan moves to his right. It bounces a couple of times before it's fielded, and they easily run 2. 7 for 218.
And a well-placed shot from Zampa, just slightly overpitched by Chahal, and Zampa just opening up the blade, getting it between the long off and deep cover.
He's in again. That's flatter and quicker. Oh, now was that a catch?
No. Off the hands. I was going for the run out, Beef. No, it was into the wicket.
Okay, and Zampa drove firmly back down the line. Chahal parried it away. It avoided the castle, and there was no chance of a run. 2 balls remaining in the 46th over.
Big shot coming.
Charlie, and Zampa is hoiking it down to long on. In fact, he mistimed it, so they might be able to take 2. No, Hanscom was in and out quickly, but Shankar down at long on was even quicker. 7 for 219.
Yeah, sometimes a mishit can bring about not just a single, it can bring about a 2 on a ground the size of the MCG.
5 men in the deep, as you'd expect. Deep backward square, deep mid-wicket. Long on, long off, and a deep cover. So they've got all the boundaries covered. 2 men in the circle behind point for the leg spinner. Bowling to the right-handed Hanscom.
Just 3 runs from the over. Last ball. Oh, Hanscom struck on the pad. He's out. Trapped on the crease.
5-for.
He's got a 5-for. Hanscom is going to ask for a DRS, but it looked very adjacent from our vantage point. And if this decision of Paul Blocker-Wilson's is upheld, then Chahal has a 5-for, and Australia's last genuine batting hope to push this total up near 250 will have perished for 58.
This is a big review, gentlemen, and all of our listeners. Peter Hanscom, the man reviewing using the DRS.
Thank you, fair delivery.
No problem.
Move on to front on spin vision, please.
Voice of third umpire Richard Kettleborough.
Okay, let's just see leg side hotspot, please.
That is absolutely salmon trout.
Yeah, Pete's not even waiting. He's had a look at the replay.
Let's go through to RTS, please, when available.
Forget the hotspot, off your pop. Let's move on with the game.
Ball coming through now. Keep it rolling through. Thank you. We'll go to ball tracking when ready.
This is going to be hitting middle and off halfway up.
I'd say middle, Beef.
Ball tracking, pitching in line, impact in line, wickets hitting. Going to go back to Paul on field, please.
Peter Hanscom leg before wicket for 58 to Yuzvendra Chahal, who now has 5 for 40 from 9 overs. Tim Lane about to join you, and after 46, Australia in big trouble on the Squad Athletica scoreboard at 8 for 219.
After 8 years, India qualifies for the biggest Asian football tournament. The boys are ready. We are ready. Are you ready? To back the blue at the AFC Asia Cup 2019. Catch the coverage, scores, updates and analysis from the AFC Asia Cup 2019. On
Peter Hanscom, Australia's last hope, really gone for 58. It's 8 for 219 with 4 overs left. Siddle arrives to join Zampa. Somehow or other they've got to try and score 30 runs or so from these last 4 and not lose 2 wickets in the process and thus have the innings terminated prematurely. And I guess every man who's the last recognised batsman has to be prepared to make a bit of a deal of himself in that situation and request a review, because it's about the only hope the innings has of salvation. John Embry and Ian Chappell coming in as well. Get to you after this. Shami about to bowl. Start of the 47th. Zampa on strike. And he cracks a short, sluggish ball from Shami out to deep cover. They take a single. Zampa 8 for 220.
Well, that was good bowling, Tim, from Chahal. He pushed the ball through a little bit quicker. It just shot through. It rushed onto Hanscom. It forced him onto the back foot. And he did play around it a little bit, just trying to work the ball. But you've got to give credit to the bowler. He's picked up 5 wickets for 40 runs off 9 overs.
I think he's the early favourite for high honours at the end of the night. Well, Shami comes in. Sometimes looks tired and flat-footed as he approaches.